Have you ever felt trapped in a problem that seems to have no way out, as if every attempt to solve it only leads to more confusion, anxiety, and exhaustion? What if I told you there's a secret technique that can lift you out of any situation, without physical effort, without desperation, without struggle? Yes, you don't have to save yourself. The universe will do it for you. But to make that happen, you need to understand how it truly works. In this video, you'll discover a hidden principle, a vibrational key that completely transforms the way you perceive and handle any challenge. And the truth is simple. The problem and the solution are the same thing, only at different frequencies. When you shift your vibration, the universe responds. Before we continue, comment below. I trust the universe, and I am already tuned to the frequency of the solution. This phrase will open the portal of transformation for you and for everyone who reads it. Let's awaken this power together. To understand why this technique works and how it can reverse any situation, we need to turn our attention to one of the greatest researchers of consciousness, Jacobo Grinberg. A Mexican scientist, Grinberg devoted his life to studying the human mind, uniting insights from neuroscience, quantum physics, and spiritual traditions. His theory of the neuronal field revolutionized the way we understand reality. He proposed that the world we perceive is not objective, but a projection of our mental structure. According to Grinberg, the universe responds to the frequency of our consciousness. That means we are not merely observers of reality, we are its creators. Everything we call a problem is in fact a reflection of our internal vibration, and likewise, every solution already exists on the opposite pole, waiting only for us to align with it. This idea echoes ancient principles like those in the Kybalion, especially the principles of polarity and cause and effect. This isn't blind mysticism, but the science of consciousness. Your reality changes when your frequency changes, and that is exactly what you will learn to apply in this video. The universe is not against you. It is simply waiting for you to vibrate in the right direction. One of the most life-changing revelations is understanding that problem and solution are not distant opposites, but the same reality manifested at different frequencies. This may sound abstract at first, but once you grasp the principle of polarity, everything begins to make sense. The fourth Hermetic principle, as described in the Kybalion, states, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. The similar and the antagonistic are the same, differing only in degree. This idea invites us to see the world very differently from the usual way. There are no problems separate from solutions, just as heat is not something different from cold. Both are merely different degrees of the same substance, temperature. In the same way, what you call a problem in your life, be it debt, illness, or a difficult relationship, already contains within it the frequency of the solution. The only difference is the degree of vibration you are tuned into. If you remain stuck in the frequency of fear, scarcity, or anxiety, you are vibrating at the lower end of the very spectrum that holds the solution. It's like looking at a ladder of vibration. The higher you climb, the closer you get to resolution. The problem doesn't vanish, it transmutes. Its essence remains, but its form changes according to frequency. Just as an ice cube turns into steam when heated without ceasing to be water, your challenge transforms into achievement as you raise your vibration. This understanding frees us from a victim mentality and places us at the center of our own creative power. You don't need to eliminate the problem. You need to modify your internal state until you vibrate in the reality where it is already solved. From that new perspective, the problem loses its resistance and dissolves. And here is where wisdom meets practice. If problem and solution are the same thing at opposite poles, then the key is not to fight against the problem, but to align with the frequency of the solution. It's not a matter of effort, but of tuning. When you stop resisting and start moving toward the vibrational solution, the universe organizes itself to present the paths, ideas, people, and opportunities that bring you the answer you seek. This is not a vague spiritual metaphor. It is a law of vibrational reality, and once you understand it, it becomes impossible to see problems the same way again. We live in a society that taught us the solution to any problem lies in doing, working harder, chasing results, fighting, conquering. That logic of constant effort has a functional side, but when it comes to deep, lasting transformation, it fails miserably. Why? Because it operates only on the level of effect, not on the true cause of reality. According to the sixth Hermetic principle, the principle of cause and effect, everything we experience in the physical plane is merely the consequence of something prior, invisible, vibrational. What you see, touch, or live is the condensed effect of a cause that began in your internal world. Thoughts, beliefs, emotions, convictions, identity, and paradigm. These are what shape the reality you call life. Imagine a person in debt. They might run around, sell belongings, work extra hours to pay it off, and maybe they succeed. But if their internal paradigm of scarcity remains active, if they still believe, feel, and identify as someone always in debt or unable to prosper, a new situation will soon arise to reaffirm that state. Action changes the surface. The internal frequency recreates the cycle. True transformation doesn't begin with physical effort, but with recognizing that the cause lies within. The world doesn't react to your actions, but to the vibration with which you perform them. Actions born of fear, haste, or scarcity, even if well-intentioned, carry that vibration and attract experiences coherent with it. It's like trying to clean a dirty mirror by scrubbing at the reflection. No matter how hard you try, if you don't touch the actual surface, the reflection stays the same. The reality you live is that reflection, and the mirror is your vibrational field. Acting only on the reflection is exhausting and ineffective. That doesn't mean abandoning action, but repositioning it. Action only becomes powerful when it comes from an aligned vibration. When you change your consciousness, your internal state, you act differently. Decisions become more intuitive. Opportunities reveal themselves with clarity, and effort gives way to flow. This is why so many people live in repetitive loops. They keep trying to solve the same problems with the same vibration that created them. You must interrupt that pattern, not with more force, but with vibrational awareness. The great truth is that reality bends for those who understand where the true cause lies. And when you learn to operate at that internal level, you begin to move the pieces of the universe silently, yet powerfully. From there, physical action becomes only the natural expression of an already transformed internal state. Many people confuse vibration with frequency, believing that feeling good for a few minutes is enough to change their reality. But there's an essential difference between these two expressions of your energy field, and understanding it is vital for true transformation. Vibration is your momentary emotional state. It's the instant response you have to a situation: fear, anger, excitement, or joy. It changes easily, sometimes involuntarily. Frequency, on the other hand, is deeper and more stable. It represents the state of consciousness you sustain over time. It's the vibrational backdrop of your identity. For example, someone might feel a surge of optimism upon hearing an inspiring video. But if their dominant state is insecurity and scarcity, that is what will continue to shape their reality. The universe responds to your frequency, not to fleeting emotions. Your frequency is formed by everything you believe about yourself and the world. It is the result of repeating thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. If you see yourself as someone small, limited, or worthless, that vision solidifies and becomes the lens through which you view all opportunities. And the most remarkable thing, it becomes a magnet for experiences that confirm that state of being. What you feel consistently, you live constantly. Jacobo Grinberg called this structure the perceptual state, the invisible mold that filters the possibilities of the universe and selects only those compatible with your frequency. That's why two people can live the same situation and have completely different outcomes. One sees opportunity, the other sees a problem. The difference? Their individual frequencies. To change your life, you need to change the field in which your consciousness operates. This requires vibrational consistency. It's not enough to feel gratitude once a day. You must sustain that emotion until it becomes your new normal. Repetition creates density, and density creates reality. The good news is that this shift is entirely possible. You already have within you the power to change your frequency. It all begins with recognizing what you are emitting today. What is your dominant frequency? Fear, control, anxiety, or trust, surrender, joy? That self-analysis is the first step. From there, the work is continuous, bringing presence, adjusting thoughts, cultivating new emotions, and, above all, assuming a new identity. Because deep down, your frequency is an extension of who you believe yourself to be. And when that identity transforms, the world bends in response. Now that you understand the vibrational basis of reality, it's time to turn that knowledge into practice. Theory, as powerful as it may be, only becomes real when you live it. For that, there is a simple and effective process divided into 3 fundamental steps: becoming aware, centering your attention, and redirecting your mind. This is the conscious path to altering your frequency and, consequently, your life. Becoming aware. This is the starting point. Most people live in an automatic state, reacting to thoughts as if they own them. They don't realize that many thoughts passing through their minds are merely conditioned echoes, not chosen, just repeated. Becoming aware means observing these thoughts, emotions, and beliefs without identifying with them. When you think, "I'll never get out of this situation," instead of sinking into the pain or judging yourself, pause and observe. This thought just arose. I see it. I am not it. That separation between the observer and the content observed is the seed of inner freedom. Centering your attention, once you realize you're stuck in an idea of scarcity, fear, or limitation, the next step is to bring your focus to the now. The present is the only space where you can truly change your frequency. The past fuels guilt. The future fuels anxiety. But the present is neutral. It's where your power resides. The simplest way to do this is to return to your body. Pay attention to your breath. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, the touch of your feet on the floor. Your body is always present, and where the body is, the now is. In that instant, your mind quiets and you interrupt the mental projection cycle that reinforces the problem. Redirecting your mind with attention in the present and a clearer mind, you now have the space to deliberately choose what you want to tune into. This is where the power of creative imagination comes in. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this problem were already solved? Visualize, feel, experience it. It's not about pretending everything is perfect, but about activating the vibration of your desired reality as if it already exists. Because, on a vibrational level, it does. That mental and emotional image imprints on your subconscious a new reference point, and the more you repeat it, the stronger it becomes. This process may sound simple, but it requires awareness. Over time, however, it becomes natural. You begin to live with more lucidity, presence, and intent, and it's at that point that miracles start to emerge. Not as sudden magic, but as the inevitable consequence of a new state of being. One of the most powerful and underestimated tools for transforming reality is creative visualization. Its effectiveness isn't a matter of blind faith or empty positive thinking. It's a practice backed by both spiritual traditions and neuroscience fundamentals. Why? because the subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That means every time you visualize a scene with clarity, emotion, and involvement, your subconscious records it as a real experience. It doesn't analyze or judge. It simply accepts it. And since the subconscious governs over 90% of your life, this practice becomes a direct channel to shift your internal frequency and thus reconfigure your external reality. Imagine a debt being paid off. Now go further. Imagine yourself opening your banking app and seeing a positive balance. Feel the relief, the tranquility, the gratitude. Sense the involuntary smile, the body's relaxation, the certainty that everything has been resolved. The more vivid and emotional that scene, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth. This process creates a new vibrational reference. Your system begins to operate from that new image. Your mind stops seeking desperate, fear-based solutions and starts generating behaviors, ideas, and attitudes consistent with the reality you've visualized. It's like rewriting the script of a movie. The plot of your life begins to follow a new narrative. But here's the crucial point. It's not enough to visualize out of obligation or in a hurry. The key is emotional surrender. The more you feel, the more you imprint. That's why repeating affirmations without genuine involvement rarely yields results. Words are tools, but feeling is the force that engraves them. The best time for this practice is before sleep, when you're in the hypnagogic state, the threshold between wakefulness and sleep. In that state, your brain waves are in the theta frequency, just like a young child's first years of life, when learning is absorbed without filters. Visualizing in that moment is like sowing seeds in fertile soil. You can also use external elements if you wish. Soft music, scents, images. Anything that engages your senses helps make the experience more real for the subconscious. But remember, more than external resources, it's internal clarity and genuine emotion that turn this practice into vibrational power. Over time, this new frequency solidifies. The reality around you begins to shift because you've changed from within. Then what once seemed impossible manifests naturally. What was a problem becomes an opportunity. And you discover in practice that you always had the power to create the life you desire, starting with your mind. After grasping vibration, the state of consciousness, and applying visualization, there's one final essential element that completes the manifestation cycle: trust. This is where many stumble. They visualize, affirm, practice, but remain anxious, doubtful, seeking immediate signs. That anxiety signals that their frequency is still tied to the problem. True transformation requires detachment. That doesn't mean giving up on what you want, but letting go of the need to control the how and when. Detachment is what allows energy to flow. It's the empty space the universe needs to deliver the new. As long as you're emotionally attached to the absence of the solution, you're vibrating with lack, even if your words say otherwise. Faith, in this context, is not dogma, but a vibrational state. Having faith means knowing that the invisible is already organizing in your favor, even if it hasn't materialized yet. It means recognizing that the intelligence of the universe surpasses the rational mind, and your only role is to enter the frequency of the solution and stay there. Jacobo Grinberg spoke of a unified field of consciousness, a subtle fabric that connects all things and responds to the frequency of perception. Spiritual tradition calls this God, Source, Universe. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that this field responds to vibrational surrender, not mental effort. When you trust, you release. And when you release, you allow greater forces to work without the interference of doubt. It's at that point that miracles occur, unexpected circumstances, unlikely encounters, solutions that seem to appear from nowhere. But they don't come from nowhere. They come from the field you activated with your sustained vibration and the faith that it's already done. To cultivate this trust, practice a simple daily phrase. Everything is already resolved. Repeat it without expecting to feel anything immediately. Simply say it lightly. This phrase, when fed without resistance, will create an inner field of peace that becomes irresistible to manifestation. And when fearful thoughts arise, and they will, you don't fight them. You simply observe and choose to trust again. This is the game of vibrational mastery, staying aligned even when everything seems otherwise, because it's precisely then that the universe tests your inner coherence. In the end, manifestation is the reflection of your frequency, combined with your capacity to trust the invisible. The universe acts with precision when you give it space to act. And that space is created when you let go, smile, and proceed with the certainty that it's already done. Now that you understand how reality works, what will define your future isn't what you've heard here, but what you do with it. Every transformation begins with a simple step. Apply what you've learned. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Start now. Observe your thoughts, bring your attention to the present, and above all, assume the frequency of the solution. Visualize, feel, and live as if everything were already resolved. Because energetically, it is. Remember, the universe doesn't respond to despair, but to vibrational coherence. The more you trust, the more it works in your favor. If this content touched you in any way, share this video with someone who also needs to get out of a problem. Together, we can raise collective consciousness and create a more awakened world. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, I bring deep content like this to help you grow, evolve, and create the life you deserve. Leave a comment below. I am already on the frequency of the solution. This is your vibrational declaration, and the universe is already listening.